Pilot sends a message back to the Department of Genie Creators.
They are here like always, the crazy ones.
Leader Entity replies.
Ignore them.
Pilot, carrying fallen spirits, speaks to his team back in the lower astral world.
Well, I see deliver here. The traders have a drop.
Pilot gets an order from his superiors in the lower astral world.
Stay close to them. We might get an opportunity.
Noted, sir.
Spiritual engine carrying Elizabeth's spirit crosses the satellite balloons in the Earth's atmosphere. Pilot carrying Elizabeth's spirit speaks to his team.
The moon is available for natural GPS, but they use balloons to attach their spy cameras that they call satellites within the Earth's atmosphere. And yet they tell their people on Earth that the satellites are out of space.
One member of the pilot's team replies.
Well, that's why NASA is a 40 billion industry, paid to maintain the Matrix, a fabricated reality. I actually enjoyed that movie. I would have enjoyed more if Will Smith played the role of Neo.
Gentlemen's, focus.
Pilot replies.
Sorry, sir. Tracking location of Mrs. Miriam.
She's by her garden behind the house with Helen.
On it.
There is a race of spiritual engines towards Mrs. Miriam's backyard.
Oh, buonino.
Tangoza na bomo tangu makasi za na nzoto yebisa fami tolingaka bango liboso bawa yebisa boyoyo okumisaka ye kisa lolango na yo kozela te bakufa o nsimo ya kotanda mosolo kozela te bakoma na bokono lakisa lolango na yo oh, oh, oh. Yo, 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 yo. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yo, 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 yo. Tangoza na bomoi lakisa bango motindokani yolingaka bango yolelaka motema baoyo betelaka tolo yebisa bango boye jimukunanga bikola be oh nakupenda mumezolange fami nalingi bino mukulanga yo 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 kozela te bakoma na bokono polakisa lolango na yo kozela te ba awa sima otanda wolo na lilita yango wana lelo yebisa bango boye chimukuna na bikola be oh yo ye ye minanga tesotonga ayo mumezolange fami nalingi bino chimukuna na bikola be nakupenda mumezolange fami nalingi bino tesotonga kimyo
Mendibe.
Tangwango yo yakolakisa lolango kozela te bakende na paradiso kozela te babunga na lifelo tango zana bumo ilakisa yebisa lolango na yo yebisa bango chimukuna na bikola be oh oh nakupenda aye ye bizolange fami nalibino jimukunanga bikolabe oma bizolange fami nalibino jimukunanga bikolabe mamo nakupenda we bizolange fami nalibino
By force, it's got to be bloodshed.
Oh, thank you so much, Brother Silverback, for that input. I want to get the input of Manzambi. I love the name Manzambi. It has the name of the Most High in it. Manzambi Zola. What are your thoughts, Manzambi? And then we can have Brother Nene, and then we'll start our class for today. I can see Gambori Pao is Solomon. Gambori Pao, please come in.
Yes, hello. Good afternoon.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Gambori
Can you
Pao.
hear me?
We can hear you. Go on, Gambori Pao. What are your thoughts?
Okay. The army is there to
Your network is jumping. Also, Gambori Pao. Can you try to go out and then come in?
and protect the people. Colonial times, their work was to Budwe of Zande, Menelik of Ethiopia. Yes. But these days we see that the army is engaging in a lot of looting and killing of people. So this is the different perspective of the army these days. But in reality, the army was there to guard and protect the people. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gambori Pao. Let's have Mazambi Zola. Mazambi, what are your thoughts? And we'll have Brother Nene.
Siami Ben and Zombie, Matondo. You know, just listening to the brother that spoke right before this brother who spoke, I agree with him. You know, what he was saying about the puppets that are in the office over there in the land. We have to pray and speak and declare that these people will get out of office because they're hurting us. And the army that Tata and Zambi, that's the army I'm focused on. They're coming together slowly and under the nose of those who are in rule right now. Their rulership is over. Okay, we see it crumbling. We see these countries and everything that's on fire, that's flooding. These are people who have done wrong to our ancestors. So now payback is coming. And so this army that Tata Nzambi is putting together, we're speaking to them right now. You all hear my voice. And we are going to start fighting against these people who are armed with guns and bazookas, all this other stuff. We will speak and defeat what they have. Now, some of us may have to go hand in hand combat. All right. We will overcome. Because the Most High said, if I am for you, who can be against you? So our time is now. Esau's reign is over. And our time is now. But we have to decree and declare that those people who are in office, those puppets who are working against us, that they be removed. And Mama Brenda said that she wants to say something as well. Matondo.
Jump in, Mama Brenda.
Mbote family, time here since my husband already spoken, but greetings to all of you, and it's an honor to be here with you guys today. Also, in addition to what he was saying, I lost my train of thought there. But he and the first gentleman had made a excuse me a good point about the puppet leaders. We have to understand that those that are in leadership now are just an extension of those that were put in place when they came in and killed our kings and queens and sold, their sons and daughters into captivity. And we have to understand that. And I know that a lot of you all know the history over there. Some of you may not know the history, how in different parts of Congo, when I say Congo, I'm not talking about the area where they designate as just Congo. Congo is much larger than what they have presented to the world now. It's a very vast land. Yes. And so when I say Congo, I'm talking about that vast land that our ancestors had that was given to us. They placed a lot of people in who has no position, business being in position. And so they have to do what these people say, the colonialists say, or else they will have to face the consequences, because he is the one that put them in place. That is why you see they do not want us to come home. They're doing everything that they can to prevent us in the diaspora from coming home. I don't know if you guys know that.
That's true.
There's a lot of things that are taking place, and they're calling us foreigners. I'm not a foreigner.
No, we're not foreigners.
My ancestor, I trace my ancestor back directly from Africa and can trace back where they brought him to, from Africa. My sixth grandfather and my grandmother from the shores of Africa to Virginia. Then they sold them off. And I'm going to stop after this. From Virginia, from Africa to Virginia, from Virginia to South Carolina, from South Carolina to North Carolina, from North Carolina to Alabama, from Alabama to Mississippi, where I was born, my mama was born, my grandmama was born. That is the land of my ancestors. I am not a foreigner.
Never. Thank you so much, Manzambi. Thank you so much, Queen Brenda. Thank you so much. But Nene, you have something to say before we start our class? Nene all the way. Nene, if you can hear us. Yes, Nene, before we begin.
Nene, not Brother Nene, Sister Nene, rather.
Sister Nene. Wow.
I won't be participating. I will just be listening because I'm at work.
Wow, thank you so much, Miss Nene. We have Brother Nene in our group, so I got confused. Thank you so much, everybody, for those inputs. So basically, we're going to dive into our class for today, which is Life 101. It means the history of humanity from the spirituality point of view. We have about 27 classes in this module. And we began basically with the Most High in existence and creation. We spoke about the structure of creation. We spoke about the kingdom of the Simbis, and we spoke about the construction of the physical universe in our last session. I hope many of you have been able to watch these 3 classes. And today we're going to speak about the 9 bodies of the spirit. I can see Queen Brenda. Did you have the chance to look at the previous class, even one of them or 2 of them, Queen Brenda?
Not yet, I haven't, but that is on my list to do.
Please, that would be really an honor for you to at least to watch those and to be able to understand today's class better. Brother Lebo, what are your thoughts from last class on the construction of the physical universe? Brother Lebo Matamane from Lesotho.
Oh, yes, my king. It was really interesting to really see how the artistic work of and magnificence of how they create, how the Most High he put the laws into the universe that the Simbis had to carry out through his authorization to carry out all those levels of creation from the Simbis from the guineas of fire to the guineas of air and of water and of soil and all those, all of them, like of vegetation and of animals. It was such a broader understanding, of how the Most High made all this, and it answers a lot of questions that I've been having in mind. Questions as I've been having in mind, and as we go on, maybe I did the revision of my notes, and then I'll ask some questions because I really went through the class again, and I have some questions of which I'll ask maybe after the presentation. Thank you, Mikey.
Thank you so much. So in this module, we're going to look at basically, in our next class, we'll look at the activities of the spirit. There are 2 principal activities, right? So there is the masculine activity and there's the feminine activity. But Manzambi is performing the masculine activity. His queen is performing the feminine activity. That is why she has the feminine body, and he has the masculine body. The masculine activity is the activity of transforming the physical universe into the image of the spiritual universe. The feminine activity is the activity of guiding and making sure that the man does not forget where he comes from, does not forget his celestial citizenship. So it's like the man is the builder and the woman holds the torch. We'll just speak about this in our next class. So today we're going to speak about basically about the 9 bodies of the spirit. It's a very important class today, but we have many topics coming up, like the reason of our arrival into the physical dimension. We shall speak about the human fall, the energy and visualization of egregors. Very, very important class. And then we shall speak about basically reincarnation, also the salvation mission of Rabboni Yehoshua. We shall speak about femininity and masculinity. So there's a lot of topics we're going to cover. We shall speak about marriage, its sense and its objectives, and even marriage preparation during childhood. So there are many topics coming up in the session of Life 101, my dear brothers and sisters of Africa. So last time we spoke about the construction of the physical kingdom. The physical kingdom has basically 7 constellations or 7 kingdoms, which begins at Laodicea up down to Ephesus. So currently we are in the constellation of Ephesus, Nza ya Kikulusu, Onza ya Mavanga. Most of our ancestors, those who lived in the right way, are in Sardis or in Laodicea, that we call Pemba Kalunga. So the top 3 kingdoms is called above, the bottom 3 is called below. So the up, when you rise from bottom to up, it's the vibrational frequency changes. Okay, the matter in Ephesus is very heavy, but the matter in Laodicea is very light. So our ancestors live in an energetic body. People like Moses, people like Elijah, people like Abraham, people like Vita Kimpa, people like Mfumukimbangu. Amazing people who live in the right way. Many of them are found in the top 3 kingdoms, which is Laodicea, Philadelphia, or Sardis. So right above the physical dimension is the kingdom of the Simbis, that we call the kingdom of the entities, the constructors of the universe, that the Christians call angels. They are not angels, because angel comes from the word in Greek, angelus. It means a messenger. But the entities are not messengers. They are basically the servants of the Most High. They are the army of the Most High that Brother Manzambi is speaking about. And if you rise up above, you find the spiritual kingdom, which also has 7 levels. So the Garden of Eden that is spoken in the scriptures is actually found at the 7th level of the spiritual kingdom. So when we're speaking about this history, we're speaking about how we arrived for the very first time. We came from the Garden of Eden, which is at the 7th level of the spiritual kingdom, and then we had to descend and enter into the physical kingdom. So we had to pass through about 7 kingdoms to arrive here in Ephesus. Excuse me. So when you're passing through these kingdoms, you have to wear their bodies. If you want to go to America, and they tell you that, okay, Sister Paulette, who is in Canada, is very cold, you have to wear a jacket. If you come from a place like India, like me, it's very hot. So you have to wear some sort of some cloth to survive in the temperatures of Toronto. You see? So when you're entering these kingdoms, you're coming to a new place. You have to know how it is to be able to exist over there. That is why they were wearing a body. So a human being is like an onion, wearing different layers. So shall speak about exactly how we left the Garden of Eden to descend up to Ephesus. But there's something very important I'd like to highlight is, it says in Genesis 1:1 that in the beginning the Most High created the heavens and the earth. So I'm going to be quoting some scriptures today because we're trying to help our fellow people who are stuck in religion. So if we don't try to identify with some of the things that they know, it'll be very difficult. So we'll be quoting some scriptures to help our Christian brothers and sisters to make them understand that what we are teaching in spirituality, it's also found in their writings, but they did not understand it in the right way, because most of the writings are coded. Okay, it's written in an imagery language. Because back in the days, it was mostly the priests in the temples that really understood the scriptures. It's not like today everybody can quote the scriptures and they have the Bible in their phone. No. Back in the days, most of the sacred texts were in the temples. Only the Ntakus were able to understand the deep meanings behind the writings. So people would come to the temple to pray. They would read to them the word of the Most High. They would tell them the laws, but not everybody understood what exactly the text meant. So most of the text, even in the Bible, in the Quran, In the Veda, it's coded. So you need to have the revelation. You need to consult the Most High to be able to understand the scriptures. It's not as black as white, my dear brothers and sisters. For example, if I ask you, let's just do a simple test. If you see this is one of the famous stories in the scriptures, the story of Adam and Eve. And the picture on the right, they're being chased from the garden. Let's have Miss Sibong, let's have brother Lebo. Brother Lebo, what do you think the story of Adam and Eve mean? If you look at this picture, what does Adam symbolize? What does Eve symbolize? What are your thoughts? How can you decode this? Remember, the scriptures is coded. Why are the scriptures coded? It's because when the Greeks used to come to Egypt to learn, Socrates came, Plato came. When the foreigners came to Egypt to learn from our ancestors, after some time, our ancestors began to notice that the people who came to Egypt did not come with the intention to really learn, but they came with the intention to take over. So the scribes in the temples began to write the writings in coded language to hide the truth from foreigners. So it means if you came to the temple in Egypt, you open the book, you'll be reading a story, you think that's what it means, but no, it's the scribes are wise, they have coded, they have put some codes, they have put it into an imagery language only for those who are wise to understand. So when we were in primary school, in Sunday school, they taught us Adam and Eve were together, they ate the fruit, their eyes open. Those were stories which was taught to small kids in Egypt about creation. But later on, when they went through initiation, they were taught the truth of the meanings behind these symbolic stories. But white people took a book they combined it into the Bible and then came to colonize our ancestors, not even understanding what the scriptures really meant. So many of these books are our writings, but has been manipulated, which I'll speak about it. So, Brother Lebo, what are your thoughts? What do you think the story of Adam and Eve means, Brother Lebo? Yeah, Brother Lebo, you there?
Yes, I think it simply shows the aspect of obedience and disobedience. Like the obedience, it comes with the reward, and disobedience comes with the consequences, and you have to be accountable for the consequences that come with it.
So do you think there was a man in the garden with his wife and they ate the fruit and then the eyes opened? What are your thoughts on that?
Like it's a complex issue because I'm still trying to unwind from what I thought. I'm not so clearly sure of
interesting.
Like, if literally, I'm not. I can't. I can't say for sure.
What are your thoughts, Mr. Mazambi, Zola? What are your thoughts?
Wow. Of course, now my thoughts are totally different than what it was when I was in church. But they were instructed not to participate in what the other nations were doing, and they disobeyed. They were intrigued what the other nations were doing, what they were involved in. They were curious, and they took part. And because of that, they fail what the level where Tata Nzambi has placed them as the head of the nations.
And so I love that. I love that, Mr. Mazambi. So if you look at these symbols, you have Adam, we have Eve, we have an apple, and then we have the serpent. And then if you look on the picture on the right, after they ate the fruit, they were banished from the garden. Very interesting, my dear brothers and sisters of Africa. If you look at the next picture, the masculine, Adam here represents what we call the masculine energy. It means all the men in the world have the masculine energy. So there was not one Adam and one Eve. No, it's a representative of the males. Eve is the representative of the feminine energy. Remember, the man transformed the universe, the physical universe, into the image of the spiritual kingdom. The feminine activity is there to make sure that the man does not stay in touch, lose his his connection with his celestial citizenship. The serpent represents Ra, the one who was basically helping them to live in the right way in the physical dimension, but later on something evil entered into the serpent. The fruit represents egocentrism. Mr. Mazambi says they took on new information. So there was a way of life that was expected for them to live, but they took on new information from Ra, or the serpent, and it was an information of egocentrism. Remember, the serpent was telling them that you can also be like the Most High, you can also do this and this and this. So they ate the fruit of egocentrism. They began to live a life that was not attached to the Most High. That's what it means to eat the fruit. They took on new information. They took on new ideas. It means the feminine activity was the one that was approached by the serpent. Why? Because the woman is the spiritual leader of a man. So if you destroy the woman, you've got the man. So the serpent knew that if he got Eve, if he got the feminine activity to move away from the Most High, the masculine activity is just a simple work. So Eve was led into egocentrism, convinced Adam also to move into egocentrism. It means the majority of the people of that particular time, the women, followed the ways of egocentrism, and the men were also seduced into it. So this is just one part of the explanation. Some people say, oh no, the fruit was sex, Adam and Eve had sex. People have different, crazy ideas of this explanation. Now, if you look at the picture on the right, they were moved from the garden. But again, this also because when the scriptures were manipulated in the Council of Nicaea and Council of Constantinople, they completely changed so many things in the scriptures. So if you look at them being banished from the spiritual kingdom, it was not used, it was not said in the right way. They left the spiritual kingdom to come and have a physical experience on earth, remember? So Adam and Eve, it means the gems of spirits, human beings, left the spiritual kingdom and they came into the physical kingdom to have an experience. Now, what about this one? This one is very interesting. They say Adam and Eve. Remember, Adam and Eve is not one man and one woman. No, it is the masculine and feminine activity. They gave birth to Cain and Abel. Is it two brothers who existed in the Bible, or is this also a symbolic language? What are your thoughts, Brother Silverback Congo? What do you think Cain and Abel means? The story that is well taught in Christianity of Cain and Abel. What do you think these principles, these symbols mean? Cain and Abel.
It's like a paradigm. One represents the righteousness of Satan Zambi.
Ingeta.
And the other one represents the lower self.
I like the way you think. Yes, so Cain, and then funny enough, they say, Brother Silverback, that Cain killed Abel. What do you think it means, Brother Silverback? Cain killed Abel.
Well, I think it's like self-hatred. It's like he does not like righteousness. It's like someone who loves the world, and, doesn't like righteousness.
Very, very nice input, Brother Silverback.
It's not elevated.
Interesting. So you notice in the story, Cain was trying to send worship to the Most High, and his worship was being rejected, but Abel's worship was being accepted. It means there are two types of people here. We have the Cain, we have the Abel. Now, if you look at you as a human being, you have what we call the intellect, because a human being is a fusion of the spirit and the body. So the body has what we call the intellect, the animal mind, but the spirit has what we call the intuition. So Cain is the intellect. Your body, your physical body wants to do certain things that are not really in praise to the Most High. But your soul or your spirit is what is your Abel. But unfortunately, because Adam and Eve ate the fruit of egocentrism, they gave birth to Cain and Abel. It means some people in their life, they lived spiritually, But some people in their life, they lived materially. They became very materialistic. But unfortunately, the majority of the people lived like Cain. It means they took on the egocentrism, and the egocentrism, the intellect, killed the intuition. This is what the story of Cain and Abel means. So you can see that these stories in the scriptures, they are coded. It is not black and white. No, because you give an argument to say, okay, if Adam and Eve were two people and they gave birth to Cain and Abel, and Cain went away and got married to who? The question is, he went to get married to who? So some of these questions, you have to be able to look at these stories and decode them. Because remember, in the first council of Nicaea, in 325 AD, these people, Romans, they wanted to come to Africa to colonize African people. So they took the writings from the Greeks about Africa in the African temples, and they combined it into what you call today the Bible. And because these were writings of Black people, they wanted to change some things in it to use it as a tool of colonization. So the Bible is a tool of colonization. If you don't read it with a spiritual eye, it can really make you a slave. So they changed, first of all, they changed the characters. They made the characters white. So the Council of Nicaea was there to decide what should be in the scriptures or not. Like the book of Enoch was removed, the gospel according to Mary was removed. So they combined 66 books which they already manipulated to suit their agenda. They had another council of Constantinople in 381, and they planned exactly what should be in the scriptures regarding the Most High, regarding the Holy Spirit, regarding so-called the Son of God. We speak about Christianity as Jesus. So when they met in this council, they had to make some changes. First of all, the names, they had to remove the history of Black people from the Bible. So Nimi Congo, who was Noah, so Nimi Congo was actually the name. His name was Nimi Congo. They changed the name to Noah in the Bible. His three children, Zolanga, Angu, and Lendo, they changed them into Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Moses, Massa became Moses or Moshe. Names like Eli became Elijah. So they had to whitewash the entire Bible to make it to become their history and not our history. Very, very interesting. Second thing, they had to change the locations. Many locations in the scriptures has been changed. We are taught of Moses crossing the Red Sea. But if you look at the history of humanity, the Red Sea, which is over there, you know today that Napoleon in the 17th century divided the water to create the way for the ship to pass. But there was dry land over there. So Moses crossed the Red Sea. How? Because land existed over there. So they had even to change the history of a people. They changed the names, they changed the location, they changed even the race. Moses, Noah, Abraham, all these people were actually Black people in Africa, in Ethiopia, but they changed them into become European and white and Jews and all these things. Last thing, they had to change the meanings in the scriptures. Many of the meanings, like for example, I've given you an example of the Adam and Eve. Today, if you go to church, you are taught Adam and Eve as if it's a one man and one woman and they gave birth to 7.8 billion people. It's crazy to believe in this kind of things, you know? So the meanings was changed in the scriptures. And first, one of the second last thing is they changed the history. We do not know our history anymore because they made it as if it's there. Today, African people go to the Jordan River, they go to all these places to pray in Israel, forgetting that that's their history, you see? And today, we as African people were taken to be the Gentiles. And then the true sons of the Most High are the Europeans who are found in the Middle East. You see how they changed the course of history. And lastly, they had to change our culture. They changed our entire culture by bringing religion to us. So this work was a work done by Luciferian beings, very highly intellectual people. They don't joke. So this information they had to use. In Congo, we say, Balamba kibiso na maina biso. It means they cooked us in our own water. It was work which was done very intellectually and because Lucifer is very wise. So sometimes I'm telling you this because when I'm quoting the scriptures, don't think I'm religious. No, I'm trying to show you that there are some places in the scriptures where there are still things which are right, but you have to be able to decode it in the right way. So when they came to Africa, they brought us a manipulated book. They forced our ancestors, whipped some of them to believe in those kind of things and dogmas and precepts without reason, and it was very difficult. So if you look, for example, in Genesis chapter 1, verse 2, it says that the earth was formless and empty. So it means the Most High moved from eternity and manifested himself into the Tohu Bohu. Genesis 1:3 says, "Let there be light," and there was light. So the first movement was the movement of the Most High into the first man found in the spiritual kingdom in the Tohu Bohu, an empty space which was full of darkness. And it says in verse 4, and he separated the light from the darkness. All these are spiritual languages, you have to decode them. So the first movement was the Most High trying to self-manifest himself. When I'm describing the Most High as a he, I'm not saying that the Most High is male. No, the Most High is formless, has no gender. But English is a very poor language to convey spiritual messages, but just permit me to use this for the sake of understanding. He manifested himself in the spiritual kingdom, and then that's how light was manifested. Now, the scripture says that when the Most High spoke, and there was a vote, some sort of a dome. So the Simbis went to work. The Simbi and Massa, the Simbi and Bibulu, the Simbi and Tia began the construction of the earth that we live in today. I am still convinced that we don't live in a globe, because if you look at the scriptures and even if you look at science, it doesn't look like we live in a globe. We actually live in a dome. Because if you read the scriptures, you see that there was a vote, and they separated the water above from the water below. It means above us there's water, my dear brothers and sisters. And if you look at verse 9, it says, "Let the water under the sky be gathered to a place." It means the Simbi and Massa began to separate some water. They put some water on the other side, and the Simbi and Toto began to work on the land on the other side. So it was an architectural work. It's not something that happened, boom, just like that. No, abracadabra. No, there was an organization. The Simbi took this mission and began to construct the physical universe that you see. So the scripture says in Genesis 1:2, I'm trying to quote scriptures to give you some sort of a reference. The land produced vegetation. It means the Simbi and Toto pulled out of the land and began to give the information to Simbi and Minty, the genius of trees, to begin to construct the vegetation world. So land was created first by the Simbi and Toto, and from the land they created trees. The scripture speaks about the land gave birth to plants bearing seed according to their kinds and trees. And then after that, we are taught that in Genesis 1:20, that this 1:14, "Let there be lights as vote in the sky." So the stars were created here in the physical dimension, birds were made, and even creatures in the water like fish was created. The Simbia Massa, the Simbia Bibulu began to work on making types of fish species in the oceans, and also some lights in the sky. So if you notice, if you look at the sky at night, you notice that you can tell the sun is here. It's because the sun, if you study about the configuration of the planet Earth, you notice that the sun is within the Earth atmosphere. Which I'll speak about this one day. It's not the way we have been taught, because NASA is paid a lot of money to maintain a narrative, and they do it by design to keep people in spiritual laziness. So the land later on gave birth to animals. It says, "Let the land produce living creatures." It means the animals that you see, they were created from the minerals of the earth. The Simbia Bibulu began to create the animals from the soil. First of all, the trees came out from the soil, and the animals also came out from the soil. It took a long time to create the animals from the soil. The Simbia Bibulu took up this work. Now, the scripture says in Genesis 1:26 that, "Let us make man in our image." Remember, here, the scripture is speaking about the spiritual man, the inner you, your inner man was in the spiritual kingdom. And the inner man was given dominion over everything on earth. That is why we have a free will to dominate everything on earth, because we have been given the free will as the children of the Most High. So we are spirits. So we had to dominate what? We had to dominate everything which is found in the physical kingdom in Ephesus. Very, very important here, my dear brothers and sisters. So we were in the spiritual kingdom, in the 7th level of the spiritual kingdom. Now, Genesis 2:8 says, "And the Lord God formed man from the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life." Now remember, Like I said, the animals were created from the soil. So there was a species of animal that was prepared to receive the breath of life. If you look in the image over there, so in the family of apes, primates, there was a particular species that was prepared. If you watch the movie Avatar, the guy goes into the humanoid. He incarnates into the humanoid's body. It's the same thing here. So the animal was prepared from the dust of the ground by the Simbi Abibulu. They prepared the receiver. They prepared the car for the driver. Now, this part is very important. Then the Lord God formed man from the dust of the ground. It means there was a man who was prepared on the earth. The animal man from the animal world was prepared from the dust of the ground, and he breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. It means there was an incarnation. The spirits that came from the spiritual kingdom, which the Bible is saying in a coded language, breath of life. It entered into the man who was on earth, and then it incarnated. A human being is an incarnation of a spiritual being into an animal body. So the man who came from heaven, you and me, we incarnated into the physical earth, living in the body of an animal that we have at the moment. So the descent. How are we descending? The breath of life, which is being spoken as the breath of life, the spirits, the gems of spirits had to come into the nostrils of the man who was made from the dust of the ground. The descent, which we call incarnation. If you look at some of the scriptures in the Bible, it speaks about so many of this event. Master Yeshua says that one of the prodigal son left his father's house. He speaks about this, the spirits leaving the Garden of Eden, coming into the physical dimension. Master Yeshua gives it in a parable to speak about the prodigal son who left his father's house. His father's house means what? The spiritual kingdom. He left, he came to the physical kingdom, he went away, and later he returned. It means he came back to the spiritual kingdom. The parable of the sower. Then he told them many things in the parable, saying a farmer went out to sow seed. Remember the word. In the metaphor of the Bible, they are saying the sower went out to sow seed. What are those seeds? They are the gems or spirits found in the spiritual kingdom being sowed on the earth, planted. We are seeds. We are planted in the physical kingdom. It means we incarnated in the physical kingdom. The parable of the weeds, same thing. Jesus told them about the parable. The kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed good seeds in a field. Read about these parables to discover more. The parable of the lost sheep. Master Yeshua gave an amazing parable to say that suppose one of you has 100 sheep and loses one. Here they're speaking of a language where the Most High lost one of his sheep. It means some of the spirits came to the physical dimension and left the 99 back in the spiritual kingdom. So these are some of the references you can look at, for example, in this event, my dear brothers and sisters. So why do we have 9 bodies? Because we are living the spiritual kingdom, we're coming into the physical kingdom. So we have to pass through over 8 universes to arrive here in the physical kingdom. So we leave Mazulu Sambwadi, we say in Kikongo. We left Mazulu Sambwadi and we came into Mamantoto Nza ya Kikulusu. So you are a spirit, you're in the spiritual kingdom, you're coming into the earth. Look on the far left, a spirit is energy. It's very lightened, a spirit shines even more than the sun because it's very lightened. But because it wears different bodies, you'll notice that if you have a bulb in your house, you begin to put layers of cloth in the bulb. All of a sudden you find the light no longer is shining because you have covered so many layers on it. So that's how your spirit is located by your solar plexus, but it wears many bodies, it covers it. So you are in the spiritual kingdom, you are a spirit, you enter into the kingdom of the Simbis. They give you 2 bodies by the Simbis, the essentials. The feminine Simbis in the kingdom of the Simbis give birth to you. Just like here on earth, what happens when you come to the world? Your mom gives birth to you, right? You're born as a baby. Same thing over there. You descend into their kingdom, they give birth to you and give you a body, 2 bodies. You leave the kingdom of the Simbis, you enter into the first kingdom of light in the physical dimension. You basically get the human form that you have today, of 2 legs and 2 hands, standing upright. You take it in the first kingdom of light. Now you have what? 3 bodies. You're descending. Remember, he chased them from the garden. You enter into the second kingdom of light. You wear your 4th body. You pass through, you enter into the 3rd kingdom of light. You wear your 5th body. You pass through, you enter into the temple space, Mwela Congo, the library of the universe, where everything is recorded. They give you a 6th body. You pass, now you descend into the dense matter. Once you enter into the mental world, you become a soul. Now you are conscious of who you are in the mental world. Nza Yangindu, you have your 7th body. The mental world is the body of thoughts, the production of thoughts. Your ability to have thoughts in your mind is because you have the mental body. You descend further into the astral world, the world of emotions and feelings and words. You wear your 8th body. And finally, your mother and your father here on earth get involved through sex. The man releases sperm. It fertilizes the egg. The sperm has 23 chromosomes. The egg has 23 chromosomes. It forms the child, and the woman begins to have the child in a womb. The womb, she's having the child in the womb, is growing. And then at the 4th month, the woman is pregnant, the spirit incarnates. That's how we arrived for the very first time. So now it happens very fast because we have already evolved, but back in the day, that's how it happened. You come, you cross over all these kingdoms, you wear the bodies, and then you arrive in the physical kingdom. During the pregnancy, the woman is pregnant, and then the spirit incarnates into the 9th body, into the physical kingdom. Now, just to show you a diagram, you're in the spiritual kingdom, you cross this kingdom of the Simbis, known as Kakongo or Valhalla. They give you second 2 bodies, and then you enter into the Pemba Kalunga. Pemba Kalunga, it means the first kingdom of light. You wear your 3rd body. Now, each of these bodies that you pass through here is connected to your physical body through 7 centers of energies, what the people in the East call the chakras. So Pemba Kalunga, Laodicea, is connected to your physical body here on earth in the pineal gland. Okay? When you have basically what you call your 3rd body, you descend into the Philadelphia. You wear your 4th body. Now, like I said, in Pemba Kalunga, that is where you get the human form that you have of a man or woman. You take it from the first kingdom of the physical dimension. So the human form that you have here on earth, that you took from the animals, you came with it. So the suit is just calibrated to suit you. I'm sure many of you watch these things like Transformers. They make for you a suit which fits your anatomy. So now you descend into, like I said, Philadelphia, you wear your 4th body, and your 4th body in Philadelphia is connected to your physical body here on earth through the hypophysis or the pituitary gland. There are centers of neurons in the pituitary gland that connects you to your 2nd body of light. The first body of light is connected to your pineal gland. You descend. You descend into Sardis, the last kingdom of light. You get your 5th body, and it's connected to your physical body through the thyroid gland. You descend into the mental world. I skipped the temple space. You descend into the mental world. You basically get the mental body, which is your 6th body, and it's connected to your physical body through the pancreatic gland. You descend into the astral world. It's connected to your physical body here on earth through the urinary gland. And then you descend further into the physical kingdom Ephesus, and is connected to your physical body on the root chakra, which is the testis. So when you speak about activating your chakras, you activate it from the bottom up, from the root to the crown. Why? Because the crown chakra is Laodicea, the seventh dimension. When you activate your chakra from the bottom up, when you attain the crown chakra, then you have attained consciousness. In Christianity, we say you are now baptized by the Holy Spirit. So baptism by the Holy Spirit is basically attaining the crown chakra. So these 7 bodies that you took in this kingdom, they are connected on your physical body to these 7 centers of energies that they call the chakras. Unfortunately, in Christianity, this information is not there. They don't teach these things in Christianity. In Christianity, this is demonic. But here on earth, you only know about your human anatomy. You have legs, you have hands, but you do not know that you also have 7 anatomies of different bodies that you wear. There are people who are crazy in the head, mad person. It means he has a problem in his astral body. Now, how can you, as a doctor who went to Harvard, you only know about the anatomy of the physical body, treat a person who's mad? Actually, a person who's mad has a problem in his mental body. So if you don't understand the anatomy of the mental body, how are you going to treat somebody who's mad? Many of you here have given your trust to somebody. You believe in somebody, you supported somebody, and then they hurt your feelings. It means you have been hurt in your astral body. Now, if you are hurt in your astral body, how do you heal your astral body? Do you have to go and lock yourself in prisons? Today, when someone has hurt your feelings, you completely move them away from your life. Some people are locked in these mental institutions. Is that how you treat somebody who has problems in their mental body? So all these are just bodies that you have. So spirituality comes to open your knowledge even more. So revision, you have 7 centers of energies that creates the chakra, which is connected to the 7 bodies that you wear. The crown chakra is connected by the pineal gland, and then the third eye is connected by your pituitary gland. Throat chakra is by your thyroid, and then the heart chakra, which is by the temple space, adrenal gland, and then the mental body is connected by the pancreas, which is the solar plexus, and the astral body is connected by the urinary gland, which is the sacral chakra, and finally your testicles, which is the root chakra. For women, you can say the scrotum is where you have your root chakra, my dear brothers and sisters of Africa. So by the 9th month, when a woman is pregnant, I'm speaking about the very first time when we arrived, the animal was prepared from the dust of the ground to receive you that was coming from the spiritual kingdom. So when the primates were getting pregnant among themselves, instead of the soul of the primate incarnating, there was a cosmic 10 and the James of Spirit incarnated. God breathed in the breath of life. So we say in Congo ancestry, Banaba Zulu came into Banabantoto. There was a marriage between the spiritual and the physical. It's so beautiful. Banaba Zulu, it means the spiritual children got married to the earthly children. Banaba Zulu married Banabantoto. In the Zulu kingdom, they say their ancestors came from the stars. They speak about the spiritual beings who came from the stars, not in spaceships, no, by incarnation. So the first Adam was pulled from the soil, your animal body, but the second Adam came from heaven, came from the spiritual kingdom. Genesis chapter 2, verse 21, it says, and the Lord God made a clothing from animal skin for Adam and his wife. In Christianity, you take this as maya. It means he killed an animal and made them wear and cloth. No, they speak about the incarnation. So the animal, and the Lord God made a clothing from animal skin. They took an animal species, prepared it to receive the second Adam by incarnation. It's mentioned here in the scriptures. So we're giving the scriptures for you Christians who are watching us to be able to understand that the way we have been taught about spirituality has become like a religion. But you have to be able to understand these things in a spirituality point of view. So the animal cloth that was made for Adam and his wife, it is not an animal cloth you wear like today. No, it means they spoke about the incarnation of Banaba Zulu into Banabantoto. In the metaphor of the Bible, it says that God breathed into man the breath of life. Our brother Paul says the first Adam was from the soil. If you read in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, if you read in 1 Corinthians chapter 15:47, but Paul says the first Adam was from the soil, Banavantoto, and the second Adam was from heaven, Banavazulu. Let's read. He says, if there's a natural body, Banavantoto, there is also a spiritual body, Banabazulu. Verse 45. It is written, the first man Adam became a living being. Manavantoto. The last Adam, a life-giving spirit. Banabazulu. So the spiritual did not come first, but the natural. They first prepared the Banavantoto, and then the Banabazulu came in. And after that, the spiritual. So the first man was of the dust of the earth, but Paul says it here clearly, my fellow Christians. The first man was from the dust of the ground. They prepared the first man from the dust of the ground, the animal man, and the second man is from heaven. But Paul says it here clearly. So, and then he continues to say, as was the earthly man, so are those who are of the earth. My dear brothers and sisters of Africa, you can continue this in another session, but there's a verse which is found in Genesis 1-2. Many people use this verse to say that the Luciferian beings, the Nephilims, came from the other world and came into humanity. But actually, it speaks about this incarnation. Now, it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born to them. They're speaking about animals who were multiplying among themselves. And God saw the daughters of men, and the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were beautiful, and took wives for themselves. They are speaking about the incarnation of spiritual beings into the physical dimension. So the daughters of men that they are speaking about in a certain symbolic language, these are the animals, men, the first Adam. And the sons of God are the spiritual people that came to incarnate. Genesis 6:4. In those days afterward, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. It speaks of incarnation. It does not speak about people coming in spaceships. We shall speak about how the Luciferian beings who we know today in the white race came into humanity. It's not through spaceships. They came also by incarnation, but through infiltration. We shall speak about this in reincarnation. So look at this. Now it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and the daughters were born to them, and the sons of God saw the daughters of men were beautiful, and they took for them as well. So the sons of God are spirits coming from the spiritual kingdom, and daughters of men were in the heart of Africa, in Katiopa. The woman got pregnant, the primates were reproducing among themselves, and then the spirit incarnated into the pregnancy around the 4th month. So it's not an evolution, because if you look at the evolution theory of Charles Darwin, he began the research well, but he polluted it, because Charles Darwin teaches that we evolved from animals. It means there was no intervention of anything. We were just animals and we got smarter. That's the danger of the evolution theory of Charles Darwin, because he teaches that we came from animals. We did not come from animals. We used the body of an animal to exist here. It's like a car we entered as a driver. So we are not animals. We are spiritual beings that live in the physical dimension. So his theory of Charles Darwin, he wanted to show that animals evolved and became white, to say that the black race is inferior because the animals evolved and became white. That is very dangerous. That is white supremacy. So some people brush out the theory of evolution because they think we came from animals, first of all, and second, the white race is superior. See the game Lucifer is playing us here. If you're not careful to understand this, it's very difficult. So you have to be very careful to understand how Lucifer has played with us here. Because once you mention evolution, we came from monkeys. No, that's what they want you to believe. So it's very, very dangerous, that theory of Charles Darwin. So when we entered into the physical dimension, first of all, the ape was like an animal. We incarnated for the very first time. Many of you know how to drive today, Brother Lebo. When you entered into the car for the very first time, you did not drive like Lewis Hamilton. No, you were making some errors until you began to master the car. So it's absolutely nonsense to think that you just came into the world and began to speak languages, you began to build houses, you began to walk in two legs. No. Many of you know how to drive a car. You don't enter into the car for the very first time, you begin to drive like a special person. No. So it took time for us because we entered into a new environment. We had to master the environment. So we had to move through the process of evolution. It means we had to match our vibrational frequency of the spirit to the vibrational frequency of the animal. So we elevated the animal species to becoming the human that we are today. To becoming what we are today took a long time. So Charles Darwin teaches this, but he takes it to say we became white. No. We evolved to the point where we were black people in Ethiopia and we understood ourselves. We mastered the...
Pilot sends a message back to the Department of Genie Creators.
They are here like always, the crazy ones.
Leader Entity replies,
Ignore them.
Pilot, carrying fallen spirits, speaks to his team back in the lower astral world.
Well, I see deliver here. The traders have a drop.
Pilot gets an order from his superiors in the lower astral world.
Stay close to them. We might get an opportunity.
Noted, sir.
Spiritual engine carrying Elizabeth's spirit crosses the satellite balloons in the Earth's atmosphere. Pilot carrying Elizabeth's spirit speaks to his team.
The moon is available for natural GPS, but they use balloons to attach their spy cameras that they call satellites within the Earth's atmosphere. And yet they tell their people on Earth that the satellites are out of space.
One member of the pilot's team replies,
Well, that's why NASA is a 40 billion industry, paid to maintain the Matrix, a fabricated reality. I actually enjoyed that movie. I would have enjoyed more if Will Smith played the role of Neo.
Gentlemen's, focus.
Pilot replies,
Sorry, sir. Tracking location of Mrs. Miriam.
She's by her garden behind the house with Helen.
On it.
There is a race of spiritual engines towards Mrs. Miriam's backyard.
Body because the ape moves in four legs down, but we had to make it move upright. So we moved from Australopithecus afarensis to Homo habilis to Homo erectus and then to Homo sapien that we are today. So it was a process, and all this process was guided by the Simbis, who was led by Nembumbaloa, aka Ra or Lucifer. So if you look at this image I've made for you, God breathed the breath of life, which is also symbolized as God kills an animal and dresses them, and then we began to evolve. It took a long time, my dear brothers and sisters. This information has been polluted in science to say that we came from animals. No, we did not come from animals. What happens when you die? You simply take out the physical body. You go out in your astral body. So the physical body is just a vessel that we use. It's just an instrument that we use to exist. It does not mean that we're animals and then we evolved and became wise, like how it's taught in evolution. No. So what is a chakra? We're about to end our class for today. What is a chakra? So chakra means the centers of energies that attaches the spirit to different bodies or different envelopes. So there are centers of energy in your anatomy that attaches you to the 7 kingdoms which are found in Mamantop, in Mamantoto. So people speak about activating your chakras. It's work, huh? But Adrienne, to activate your chakra, it's so much work. So root chakra represents what? You have to master, you have to conquer all sorts of materialism, because we are not animals. This is not our home. We are foreigners here. So you cannot arrive here and lose yourself in here in materialism and sexual pleasures of the flesh. No, you have to be a spiritual being. So the first gate, the first door to open as a spiritual being, you have to master your sexuality. You cannot live like that. Because an animal, because remember the Cain and Abel? I mentioned in the beginning, there's a battle between Cain and Abel. There's a battle between your physical body, the animal that you incarnated, and you. So what does it mean? If you climb a donkey but a label, even the donkey has his own mind, and the donkey wants to do this and that. But you, as the person who has climbed the donkey, you have to make sure that the donkey does what you want it to do. Because if you close your eyes and sleep, which you call dead in spirit, the donkey will move the way it wants. So in this world, we have two types of people. We have people who are controlling their donkeys and people who are not, who the donkey is moving how it wants. That's why we live in this kind of crazy world. We have people who are failing to control their Cain. We have Abels who are asleep and Cain is doing so many evil things in the world. But who is a Muntu? A Muntu is a person who controls his car. Suppose I'm driving a white car, Mr. Mazambi, and you are driving a black car, and we get into an accident. It's your fault. Do I go out and begin to beat your car, or do I go out and look for the driver? So today, unfortunately, because the person is white skin, you think he's evil. And because the person is black skin, you think he's evil. So you are fighting the wrong way. You are fighting the car instead of looking at the driver. So for you, white skin means evil. If a person is light skin, he's evil. But you're dealing with the car, you're not focusing on the driver. So a Luciferian being is not because he's white. It's because his spirit is evil. So we even have evil people in Africa. So it doesn't mean because you have a black skin, it means you are a child of God. You are a Muntu. To be an African, to be a true African, is to be an African in spirit. You mentioned today that we have so many people who are puppets in Africa. Brother Sibongile and Brother Silverberg mentioned puppets in Africa. Why? He has a black skin, yes, just like you and me. He speaks Nyanja, he speaks Chichewa like you and me, but his spirit has no interest with Africa. So if Brother Mazambi is driving a white car, I'm driving a black car, we get into an accident, I'll go and look at the driver. Hey, what are you doing? Drive properly. What is racism? Racism means they have locked you in a prison of fighting between black and white, while the real battle is dark versus light. You're fighting principles, but you're wasting your time fighting black and white. Lucifer has locked people in so many prisons of fighting racism. You're wasting your time fighting the battle of the flesh, while the real problem is the driver. So you look at the driver, you don't look at the car. So the chakra starts from the bottom. You have to master your sexuality. You can't claim to be a spiritual person when all you do is sleep around. Your sex organs control your life. You are far from the Most High. So activating your chakras means you master your sexuality. You take control of your car, Brother Lebo. You are the driver. Sometimes you're in your room and you begin to get those feelings. Cain is speaking to you. Brother Lebo, just open those pages. I want to watch those women who are naked. That's Cain speaking to you. That's the car. The car wants the fuel. But you as the driver, the ride of the donkey, you say, no, we're not going to open those pages. We want to listen to those music. We are going to eat healthy. I want to have those McDonald's burger. That's the donkey telling you. I want to have that McDonald's burger. I love it. It tastes so nice. But you, the donkey rider, you said, no, you will not eat McDonald's burger. You won't go to the club. You won't do that. You become a Muntu. So you master your sexuality. It means you master your physical dimension. After that, you climb up. You open the first door of master your sexuality. You climb up to master your emotions and feelings. Every time you get upset, every time someone does something to you, you get upset. Your emotions always control your life. You have to master your emotions. The second chakra. After that, you now discover your creativity. It means your purpose, what you came here to do. Because trust me, there are people who have not discovered their creativity, their purpose yet. Because if you haven't mastered your sexuality, you cannot discover your creativity. Never. You move from one occupation to another. Today you wanted to do medicine. Tomorrow you want to do an engineer. Tomorrow you want to be a doctor. It means you do not know your place in the community. Because why? You have not activated the other chakras yet. So you master your sexuality. It means take control of your material life. Don't be materialistic. Second chakra, you master your emotions and feelings. Third chakra, you discover your creativity. Fourth one, you form your personality according to your creativity. I want to be a medical doctor. I'm going to help humanity in the field of medicine like Miss Paulette. You master your personality. You create a person. And then the fifth chakra, Communication. It means you begin to communicate with the Simbis. You begin to communicate with your spiritual guides, your ancestors who are in the 6th and 7th dimension. And then third eye, you begin to have vision of the spiritual kingdom. There are people who have visions at night. Oh, I spoke to my ancestors, but you haven't yet mastered your sexuality. You were in the bathroom masturbating, and at night you are dreaming about the ancestors. You think you're speaking to the ancestors who are in the 7th dimension. You are speaking to people in the lower astral world, because it's very difficult for the ancestors to be in touch with a person who has not mastered their sexuality. It's very difficult. There are rare cases. So if you're dreaming a dream somewhere and you know sincerely that you have not mastered your sexuality, you are being in touch with the kingdom of darkness. And the last one is the 7th chakra, the crown chakra. Notice the name crown. It means you are being given a certificate. You have conquered the flesh. You have conquered life here on earth. You have really ascended. Now, when you reach the 7th chakra, that is when you are baptized by the Holy Spirit with fire. You're baptized by the Most High. It means you now have the vibrational frequency to return back to the spiritual kingdom. But unfortunately, my dear brothers and sisters, we are incarnating back and back here on earth because we are still stuck in the material world. The return to Eden is a race. The 7th dimension. First dimension, dimension of innocence. You're in your mother's womb. You're a baby in your mother's womb. Innocence. You don't know anything. Bible says he was in the garden and everything was done for him. Second dimension, you leave your mother's womb. Micro level. Micro level, I'm speaking about the earth. Macro level, you left the Garden of Eden. You came into the physical dimension. Micro level, you're in your mother's womb. You leave your mother's womb. You want to discover the world, conscience. Third dimension, dimension of choice, human government. Now you have to decide whether you want to follow the Most High or not by following the laws of the Most High. This is where you activate your chakra of mastering your sexuality, mastering your emotions, and discovering your creativity at this level. 80% of humanity are stuck here. And we have been reincarnating and reincarnating. We are stuck here in the third dimension. Fourth dimension, dimension of law. You live your life by respecting the laws of the Mahat. You respect the laws of the Most High. You're in the fourth dimension. Fifth dimension, you discover the promise of the reign of 1,000 years. So only people who are in the fifth and sixth dimension will participate in the reign of 1,000 years. If you are still stuck in materialism, 10 to 15 dresses in your wardrobe, 40 to 50 shoes in your parking lot, you have 60 to 70 cars, I don't know. It's very difficult for you to participate in the reign of 1,000 years. Sixth dimension, dimension of grace, the reign of 1,000 years. And seventh dimension, dimension of the return to the spiritual kingdom after the reign of 1,000 years is over. So in the teachings of the chakras, we shall speak about the physical body through alimentation and food. We shall speak about how to manage your emotions and feelings. We shall speak about intelligence in the level of the world of thoughts and also at the mental body. So we shall speak about all this. So spirituality is work. See how they have locked our brothers and sisters in religion. Just believe in the cross. Believe he died for you on the cross. He shedded your blood. He shedded his blood on the cross for you. Just believe and then you are saved. So you spend 4 years in the university to become a doctor. 4 years, Mazambi, going to class, doing assignments every day, speaking to the professors. 4 years of your life you give to that particular institution to become a doctor, and yet to return to the kingdom of the Most High, you just close your eyes and believe someone died for you on the cross. You see, it's not logic. So in our next class, we shall speak about basically the activities of the spirit. So there are two major activities, the masculine activity and the feminine activity. Those who wear the masculine body, like Level and many other, you are practicing the masculine activity. You are the builders of the universe. Those who are wearing the feminine body, you are playing the role of Mama Ndombe. You are the feminine energy. You are there to make sure that this man does not lose his way as he is transforming the universe. That's why the woman in Congo ancestry is more superior to the man. because the woman is the one that stays in touch with the spiritual kingdom to make sure the man does his work perfectly. So this idea of patriarchy that you have in Africa, where a man is the head of the family, dominating women, and women are below you, it is Luciferian ideas, because the woman is the one who is the priestess. It's a woman who should teach a man about the Most High, not the other way around. But unfortunately, most of our women have lost their way, and we are now the ones playing your role. This role of teaching is actually supposed to be women who are supposed to do it. But now we are forced to do it because our women have lost their way in materialism. So we have to restore these things in knowing the activities of the spirit. Like I said, the spirit is hermaphrodite. It means in you, but Adrian or Miss Adrian, you have both the masculine and energy, the masculine and feminine energy in you. But when you descend into the physical dimension, we divide into two. Some take the yin, some take the yang, the positive and the negative. Others choose to be women, others choose to be men, to be able to perform this role in our mission. So the feminine activity, the masculine activity is there to transform the universe. So a man is so much attached to the material world, so much attached because you are the builder. But the woman holds the torch when the man is building. The woman is there to make sure that the man does not lose his way, because when you are working on the matter is very attractive, very seducing. So from time to time, a woman needs to make sure that the man does not lose his way. It's the woman's job. So it means a woman is the bridge between the spiritual and the physical. It is the woman that takes from God and gives to a man. A woman is the essential liaison bridge. Remember, Frank, if you want a baby, what do? You have to look for a woman. When the woman has the bridge to bring a baby into the world. So back in the days, if you went to see an African king and he gave me a proposition of a project, he would tell you, okay, I've heard you, come back after 3 days. Why? Because you have to consult the guardian of the sacred flame, his wife. Mama, I've gotten this project, what should I do? The woman gets in touch with the Simbis and the spiritual kingdom, gets the information and then gives to the man, and then the man responds to you. So a woman is the leader of the house, but a man is the leader of the house to the public. A man is the head of the family to the public, but a woman is the leader of the house in the house. It's a woman that protects the flame, that keeps the guardian, the flame to burn all the time. So the woman is the one that receives from the Most High and gives to the man. So this basically is bringing us to the end of our session for today on the 9 bodies of the Spirit. I know there's so much information we have shared, but I would love if you all could be able to watch it again on YouTube to be able to understand. I try to move fast because there's a lot of information to share. If I just go slowly by slowly, it's a bit difficult, but I'm really happy that many of you have been able to join us today. This information can be new to many of you. We are not saying that accept it, take it. No, do some meditation, speak to the Most High, and discover more and learn from it. Because a person who listens to information, you first go and do your own research as well. You don't just accept it. But we're trying to teach you things that is in you, but has been lost because of 2,000 years of the time of the Pisces. We lived in complete spiritual laziness of religion. Luciferian beings don't want you to know this, because if you know this, you'll be able to know your place in the spiritual realm and be in touch with the Most High. That's why they cook this into religion, into dogmas and precepts. They made us believe things which are no logic. So we're in a big problem. So an African person is a person who is a Muntu. It means he is always in connection with the Most High. That is why we are the most targeted people in the world, because other races have lost their connection with the Most High. So they are never happy with us because we still have the melanin. Remember, a dark surface absorbs light. A light surface reflects light. That's in the physical aspect. It's even in the spiritual aspect. A black person can easily take in the messages of spirituality, but a white person is very difficult. So thank you so much, everybody, for listening to this class. For those of you who have questions, you can raise your hand so we can be able to maybe answer your questions. Frank Minga has raised his hand as well. Anybody else want to ask a question or give an intervention? But Frank Minga from all the way in Tanzania.
Ask a question based on experiences that I've had.
Yes, Miss Elikia, jump in.
Sorry. I actually wanted to ask a question, and I don't know how you would see this, but it's based on experiences that I've had. But the meaning of it, what does it mean when, like myself, had experienced something like? So I'm learning based on this presentation of the various chakras that are in your body.
Yes.
So myself, I had actually had an experience where I had what it's like. I describe it as the fire of God or the fire of Tatanzambe that flooded my solar plexus, like being in the presence of the Almighty. And so how would you describe that? And I also experienced what I can only describe as the peace of Tatanzambe being flooded into my solar plexus as well. The peace and the joy of it, it was just being flooded in while in worship and in the presence of Most High. Like how would I don't know how to interpret those experiences. It's energy, but it's like from the Most High.
Absolutely, Queen. When you begin to move towards the Most High, you begin to experience certain kind of experiences which are indices that you're getting close to the Most High. And the fire is a symbol of victory. So when you feel that you are feeling that fire in your solar plexus, it's that hunger, the hunger to know the Most High is there. And you have to keep the fire burning, especially for you queens. You are the guardian of the sacred flame. It means you have certain fire in you that you have to keep on burning. The fire has love, it has purity, it has modesty, that fire. So when you keep the fire burning, that is how you're able to impact your family and your life. So a sign of fire is good. It means your spirit is mobile and you really want to seek the Most High. So you can continue to cultivate purity in your life, purity in your thoughts, purity in your actions, and purity in your words. And
oh wow, I also experienced that deep, unquenchable, like insatiable hunger and thirst after God, and it lasted for years.
Hallelujah. I think you have to continue with the same, and the Most High will definitely use the spiritual guides. Everybody here has a spiritual guide. The Bible speaks about everybody has 3 angels that watch over you. They are actually spiritual guides that watch over your life. They take record of your thoughts, they take record of your actions, and they take record of your words. That is how they keep it in your book of life. So when you die physically, you go before the 72 judges and they show you your entire life, how you lived, what kind of thoughts you produced, what kind of words you produced, what kind of actions you produced. And that is how they decide whether you need to come back or not. So yeah, thank you so much for that, Ms. Erikia. Brother Frank Minga.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you so much. Brother Frank Minga, you have your hand. Brother Frank. Okay, let's have Brother Abil.
Thank you so much for the lecture. It was so much nice to me. I just wanted to respond to the sister who was just talking. I have like something to respond to her. Like
Thank you.
Yeah, I've been talking to one of my oldest uncle. He was telling me a lot of good things in the story of 70s. I've been just talking to him like today. Imagine, just today. Out of experience or out of the world that is comparing to the world that we are living in today, he just told me something that impresses. Like, I even thought that's a lie, but he told me, frankly, that's not a lie. He told me like some of other old person who was living in the village, like an echo that picks the hens, these chicks, like an echo bypass in the village, and it picked an a chick. Then the one he became annoyed and called it back, like, please bring it back. And the echo just came back with the chick. That was just an experience that he was telling me. And another thing, like, sometime when you plant something in the garden and things like the birds keeps on disturbing you, and also he told me that an echo also at the same time started like also like it was a uniform, like that is what we have in that side of ours, a uniform. They like disturbing the plant crops. He also said just imagine, he called all those uniforms that they used to disturb his plants, and they all came together, especially wild things. They all came together, and that just reflected into my mind what my sister said. That was what it used to happen those years. But now, when we bring it back, I don't know how we can reflect it. He really told me a lot of stories reflecting to what we have learned today. And I appreciate so much.
Wow, thank you so much for that, Brother Bill, for that input. I can see Brother Frank Minga has his hand. Brother Frank, yes.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, Brother Frank.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, brother. Yes.
Yeah, thank you for a great knowledge which you have imparted from us. My questions it go. You talked on two. You talked on man and woman.
Yes.
And even there are laws, the law of a woman and the laws of man. But I have a question on this. That nowadays we have this the issue of transgender. The transgender, we found that one of the police and a man, they tend to change their the biological some of the biological laws, especially they can just go into the hospital or whatever, or they can just to imitate to live as a woman. So I've been thinking that where are we going to position these people, especially who are they've been neither woman, neither a woman. And also in terms of spirituality, these are which spiritual are they? Are they connected to the higher spiritual? So I have this. I wanted just to know in detail to these people.
Well, thank you so much, Brother Frank. On the issue of transgenders, it's actually because we have been so polluted in our spirituality that we are now having genders that are being changed. So it's a very big problem. But we have just to support them, to show them love, because like I said, when you're coming from the spiritual kingdom, when you're descending, you choose in the mental world whether to be to come and practice the feminine activity or to practice the masculine activity. You choose from there. And then when you descend into the astral world, they make for you an astral body according to your mental body. So if you're a woman with a mental body of a woman, they make for you an astral body of a woman. Now, when you have an astral body of a woman, when you're coming to the earth, you are attracted into the body of a female baby. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be naturally. So if you have a mental body of a man, they make for you an astral body of a man, and you are attracted into a body of a baby boy. But in some cases, it happens that you find a person who has a mental body of a woman. Unfortunately, because of their karmas, when they descend to the astral world, they make for them an astral body of a man, unfortunately, because of their karmas. So when they reincarnate back on earth, because they have an astral body of a man with a mental body of a woman, of course, they are attracted on earth into a body of a baby boy, but with a mental body of a woman. Now, if you have a mental body of a woman, it means sexually you'll be attracted to another woman. You know, if you have a mental body of a woman, sexually you'll be attracted to a man. So you see, that's how you see that you have a physical body of a man, but your mental body is of a woman. So you'll be attracted to a man. That's how you see gays. So in the case of gays, it's because one of them has a mental body of a woman. So in some other cases that happens, and then okay, he feels okay, I feel like a woman inside, but I have a body of a man, so let me change my body through plastic surgery, and it becomes some sort of a transgender. So all this has happened because we have fallen spiritually, and people come into the world and they begin to do things which are contrary to the laws of God. It leads to this kind of things. So you find a man who practiced a woman who practiced lesbianism on earth. When you die, when you go to the astral world, and you have to come back to repair. And because the universe is wise, so when you come back to repair, you're a woman who practiced lesbianism. You have a mental body of a woman, but they'll create for you an astral body, which basically is of a man. So you'll be born into the world as a man, but the mental body of a woman. And then it's very difficult, you become gay. So the way you should not practice homosexuality, you should instead face that punishment of the universe and live that incarnation the way you are, accept the way you are, by not engaging in sexual activity. And then when you die, when you incarnate back, you might be born into the right body. But unfortunately, today it has become normal. Respect the gays, respect the transgender, it's okay. So it's very difficult, Brother Frank. We're facing this world. So they're actually spiritual beings, yes, but because of certain decisions they made in their past incarnations, they are born the way they are. It's actually karma. You even see these cases in women. You're a woman, you are falling pregnant, you keep removing the pregnancy. You're falling pregnant, you remove the pregnancy. It means you are aborting. What are you trying to tell the universe? You don't want children. Now, in your next incarnation, you're born with a karma of sterility. You try to have children, you can't have children. Why? Because the universe is trying to teach you that last time you were refusing kids. Kids were coming, you were removing them. Now you are born with no possibility to have a child. It's a karmic return. The best thing you can do is you can try to adopt children, show love to orphans, and then repair that karma. You see? So the universe is very intelligent and is governed by laws. So the position that you are in, don't shout back at God and do things differently. Accept the way you are and live in love and repair your karma. But Silva, back Congo, yes.
Yes. So what happens to those people who are fallen into the abyss of the agenda of the LBGQ, whatever you call them? So what happened to these people? Because they are already infiltrating the school systems where they're starting to teach kids about sexuality at very, very, very alarming ages, where they shouldn't even be learning about, about sexuality. So what happens to those kids who take on the religion of these demonics?
It's something that we have to fight, Brother Silva. We have to fight against it, because, and these people need to be taught also the truth, because they think it's normal, they are okay the way they are, but it's not normal. They have to know that it's karmic returns, and they have to see how they can fix it. So as a community, we have to find a way on how we can protect our children from these people, because in most cases, Brother Silverback, Many of these people who are gay, the top elites who are gay, they're actually Luciferian beings. They're Nephilims. You know, they're entities that come from the abyss. For example, someone like Cicero Rhodes. Cicero Rhodes was an oppressor back in Southern Africa. He was actually a fallen entity. And then he was actually homosexual too. If you read about Cicero Rhodes' life, he was a homosexual. So we have to protect our children against these influences, especially by controlling the media, because that's where they are. Right now in Netflix, many of the top CEOs in big companies are gay. Even the CEO of, you see the CEO of Google, something like that, is also gay. So you see, there are so many, these people, they have flooded all the big positions of power. So if we have to be able to get these positions of power. If not, it'll be very difficult, because now all over the internet, they are there. All over the media, they are there. Even in news channels, they are there. So we have to build an education system for our children to protect them from those. Like right now in the UK, if you're teaching, they don't teach in some schools about homosexuality and all this same sex. It's abuse. It's abuse when they're teaching about sex, because remember, a spirit wakes up at the age of 14. So if you're teaching a child about sex at the age of 7, you're trying to wake up the child at the age of 7.
Yeah.
How can you? Yeah, that's why pornography is there to wake up because normally, but Silverback, you are put into a car. Now the car needs to be put in a position of maintenance. They have to build the car to prepare the driver to drive the car, right? So the body takes 14 years for the boys, 12 years for the girls. At 14, boys release the energy of sex, and girls begin to menstruation. So that age of 14 and 12 for girls is the time when the spirit is allowed to take over the body. So the age of 1 to 12, the Most High allows the parents to train the car, to prepare the car for this driver. Now imagine if you wake up the driver at age of 6 by watching pornography, by watching all these things. He finds a car which is not ready to drive the car yet. You see, so it's very dangerous for children to be taught about sex at the age of 6. You're waking them up very early. The body has not yet matured, because the body needs to mature at the age of 14. The car has to be ready for the driver at 14. Now you are waking up the driver when the car has no brakes, has no windows, no rear view mirror. The car will cause accidents. You see, so it's very difficult, the kind of world we have today. So we have to see how we can survive by building our own systems of media and education. If not, it's very difficult, Brother Silva. Yeah, Brother Silva, over to you.
I'm sorry, Brother Bantu. I had a second question to that. The other question was, how would I persuade someone who has a Buddhist background? How can I persuade them to watch your videos? How can I persuade? Because sometimes you're trying to reach out to people to come to the spiritual awakening of our Bantu, but we have Christians, we also have Buddhists, we have Muslims. So how do we reach out to people to come to?
Is it someone that you know personally?
Yeah.
The best way you can persuade someone to come and listen to what you have to say is to show them love. So it means we have to show the Buddhist people love. We have to provide for their needs. We have to make sure that we are there for them. Because in Christianity, a person who's a Buddhist is the child of the devil. In Christianity, if you are Buddhist, if you are Islam, it means you're on the other side. But that's not the case. It's just that Buddhism also teaches spirituality, but at their own level also, according to their culture. So this is not to say that Buddhists do not know about this. Buddhists, like I said last time, the archaic annals, it's a Buddhist word. In Congo, we say Mwela Congo. So the Buddhist priest, even though Buddhism has been polluted, but the original Buddhists, people like the Buddhas, they taught spirituality like how we are teaching right now. They taught the real spirituality, but it has been also polluted. Even Islam has been polluted. Even Christianity has been polluted. So the best way to teach a Buddhist is just to show the person love, and to show them love. If you show the person love, you'll be asking, okay, Brother Silverback is so nice to me. And then you begin to ask himself questions, and you begin to draw himself close to you. But you have to, we say you have to boil him in the cold water. Huh? Remember in the beginning, I gave an example of the fish in the water. Huh? So if our teacher did an experiment, he brought 2 Bunsen burners. He put one with hot water and he put the fish in there. The fish jumped right out. But he put the other Bunsen burner with cold water and put the fish in there. The fish was swimming, enjoying life. And then he put on the heat slowly until the fish was boiled to death. So you have to you have to influence and impact without imposition. You have to boil them in the cold water. You have to show them love, my brother.
Thank you, brother.
Wonderful. Any other input from anybody else before we end our session for today? I can see Ms. Sibongile is still there. Queen Sibongile, any thoughts from you? And we also have Valebo. Yes, Valebo. Jump in. Yes, Valebo.
I have my question in the chat, please. Can you see it?
The question in the chat.
Yeah.
For the incarnation to happen, for the spirit to descend into the animal man in the pregnancy of the woman, what laws of the universe govern or decide which spirit incarnate and enter the pregnancy? We shall speak about this in depth in reincarnation. So in reincarnation, there are 3 laws that guide the incarnation of a spirit. There is a law of attraction of affinities. It means like things attract. So it means, by label, if you are in the field of IT, most likely you attract a spirit who is in the same interest of IT. So it depends on your vibrational frequency. So like things are like things attract. Things which are not alike do not attract. So depending on your vibrational frequency, you attract a spirit who is at the same spiritual vibrational frequency like you. There's a law of attraction of affinities. And then there's a law of reciprocal of effects. The law of shock and return. It means the law of karma. So a person who is a thief is most likely to attract a person who also had past experiences of a thief. A person who is a king is most likely to attract the spirit which also has previous experiences of kingship. So there are laws that govern the incarnation of a spirit. They follow those laws, and they are guided perfectly by the symbols, perfectly, to make sure that the right kind of spirit incarnates into the pregnancy. We'll speak about this more in reincarnation in depth. Yes, Brother Lebo.
Okay, I have another question, my king. Thank you very much for that. I get it. On the point of we've seen that since the spirit descends from the higher levels of light, and then when it had to come into the animal man, there had to be some preparation that the symbiote has to make so that the spirit they would have to enter the animal man.
Yes.
I wanted to understand, like we saw like the kind of animals that the spirit entered into the animal man was those kind of like the chimps or whatever, or the ape, as we saw, and we saw that with time they mastered the car, which is the body.
Yes.
And it transformed throughout time. But my question is, how does the spiritual energy, which is the spirit, elevate the animal body that is also accustomed to each natural laws of behavior and governance? Because we saw that in every aspect of the symbols, from the symbols of water, fire, all these laws, there are laws that govern every particular essence. Now I want to understand how would then now a spiritual essence which is of a different frequency, then it comes to elevate the animal man, which has its own laws that govern it. Then in the end, we see the transition of changing through all the stages until you come to Homo sapien, then ability now to be upright and be able to use tools and all kind of things. How did that come about? That's my question, my king.
Well, first of all, I would like to answer your question with an example to say that, you know, Brother Debo, when you went for a driving school to learn how to drive a car, you were not alone learning how to drive the car. You had someone in the driver's seat teaching you how to drive. So when this transformation was happening from Australopithecus afarensis to a Homo sapien, the Symbies led by Lucifer were guiding this process. They were basically, they were the ones who was making sure that this process happens evenly in a natural manner. So in the beginning, yes, when we arrived for the very first time, when we entered and incarnated for the very first time, it was a bit difficult also because we entered a new body. Some primates were eaten by, you know, very vicious animals, and they had to go out and come back. So it was the battle. There was a really battle. That's why it took millions of years, you know. So it really took a long time. That's why we speak about 10 to 12 million years, because it took a long time for us to really enter into the physical body to really master it. Some energies were coming, they were being killed by animals, and they had to go back. And you know, matter has 4 phases. Animal man is not eternity. It is born, it grows, arrives at maturation, and then it decomposes. So you have to get out. You have to come back again. Now the spirit attaches. There's an element which sort of binds the spirit and the body together. It's what we call the blood. So the blood is the binder. So your spirit sits in your physical body through the binder of the blood. So in the blood, that is where, by the solar plexus, where the spirit is and incarnates. That energy of the spirit is in the blood. That's why if you remove the blood from a human being, the spirit has to leave. So the spirit is the binder, the blood. So imagine if you climb into a donkey, like you said, even the donkey has its own ways of life. But when you climb onto a donkey, you begin to impose. It's like you've been given a remote control. Now you are the one controlling. Now, that's why it took a long time, because we had to master how to really drive this car, because in some cases, the animal can begin to dominate you if you're not careful. It's a battle between Cain and Abel. It's a really, really strong battle. So as a spirit, you incarnate, you sit by the solar plexus, and you are in the blood of the human. And then from there on, you are sending messages by intuition to the cerebellum. And the cerebellum is sending information to the cerebrum. And the cerebrum uses the 5 senses to see how you can then control the car properly. So it is so much work, which was guided by the Symbies. We shall speak about, I think, class number 2 class from now, which shall really look at how exactly the spirit incarnates and how it really enters into the blood, and how these 2 computers of the intellect and the intuition will have to work together. The Cain and Abel have to work together. So that's how it is, my brother.
Okay. I get it, my king. I get it.
It's more of a magnetic, it's a magnetic binder. The blood, the spirit connects to the body magnetically. It's not like screws, no. The spirit is energy, so it connects magnetically with the blood. It connects magnetically with the body through the blood. So that is why the blood is very important, because the blood is actually the life. That's why if you remove blood from someone's body, the person dies immediately, because the spirit can no longer live in the body if you remove the blood. So if you lose so much blood, the spirit can no longer live in the body. So the spirit incarnates and lives in the blood and uses those. It's very it's some chemistry there and deep science on how it controls the body with the neurons and through the blood and all that. It is so much. That is why even animals. So animality, that behavior of an animal, it's in the blood of the animal. That's where the soul of the animal is. So that's why sometimes by the label, if you're eating red meat, if you're eating red meat with so much blood, like carnivores, you begin to act like an animal. You have seen some people who behave like animals because they eat so much red meat. So you're eating the blood of the animal, you're beginning to have those mentality of an animal, because those energies and behaviors of an animal, it's in the blood of the animal. That's why sometimes it's advised, if you're eating meat, at least eat dry meat, remove all the blood, and then just eat the meat. But if you're eating meat with the blood inside, it's very, very dangerous, because you're even eating the animality behavior of the animal. And you become like a savage and a barbarous. those mentalities.
More animalistic.
Yes.
More animal behavior.
Yes, Queen Elikia.
Oh, is that because there's a group of people who like to consume blood. They don't cook their meat thoroughly, so they also display or exhibit savagery type of behavior towards others. So I can see the correlation there.
Yes. So it's better if you want to consume meat, remove the blood completely and just consume the dry meat. But if you're also eating the blood, you also eat in the behavior and animalistic behavior. You begin to behave like a savage. Yes, Brother Lebo.
One last question, my king, before I give another one someone to come in. My last question is we've seen the feminine energy and the masculine energy that they have to cooperate.
Yes.
They have to the positive energy and the negative. They have to come to cooperate, and this it helps in the understanding or awakening into the higher levels of consciousness from mastering the sexuality, the emotions, as we go up. My question is, right now, here where I am, of course, all over the world, the prevalence of the LGBTQX movements and whatever, they are at the forefront. And in the physical essence of character behavior, many normal people, they aspire them because they are the most humble, they're most loyal, they're the most upright, they perform best in work and everything. That's why you find even in most positions they are there. So I want to understand in the essence of spirituality, of understanding these energies, where do they fall? Do they, can someone of that caliber be able to reach the maturity of level as we saw through all the chakras, like as he goes up, or how does it?
It's very difficult, Brother Lebo. Very difficult because remember, we are hermaphrodite spirits. It means, Brother Lebo, you have the masculine energy in you and you have the feminine energy in you. But right now you are a man. It means your masculine energy is active and your feminine energy is asleep. For Queen Elikia, she's a woman right now. It means her feminine energy is active and her masculine energy is asleep. But you have to arrive at autoconscious as a hermaphrodite spirit. What does it mean? It means you have to master both feminine and masculine. That is what comes the importance of marriage. So in Brother Lebo, when you marry your wife, she has the feminine energy. You have the masculine energy. Now, through marriage, you learn from her and she learns from you. So even the act of sex is an exchange of energies. When you're having sex with your wife, you're taking her feminine energy, she's taking your masculine energy. And then when both of you die, you become complete. Now, if you're a lesbian, you're married to somebody who has a feminine energy just like you. You see that you're not getting anywhere. So to arrive at consciousness, you have to become a hermaphrodite. You have to have the yin and the yang in you. That's the importance of marriage. So it's not only through marriage also, it can also be through friendship. You can have a female friend who is very close to you and both of you can really have a good relationship as friends. She has a feminine activity, you have a masculine activity, you combine together in one particular project and you're learning from her. But marriage is very strong because you're married to a woman and she's your wife. You learn from her, she learns from you. Even the sex between the two of you, you're exchanging energies. That's why when the Bible says when you sleep with somebody, you become one with them. Why? You exchange the energies. She takes yours, you take hers. Now imagine you're a person who has slept with 100 men. It means you are one with 100 people. So it's very dangerous for a label. So for lesbians and gays, it's very difficult for them to attain spiritual maturity because one, in terms of energies, they are lacking the energies. And even in terms of respecting the laws of the universe, they're on the other side. So it's very difficult. Adrian, I can see Adrian has opened her mic or his mic. Yes, Adrian.
Yeah, I have a question.
Shoot.
Is it possible for a man to attain spirituality without being married?
It is possible for a man to attain spirituality without being married. It is possible, but it's much better if you have a wife, because you'll be able to get the feminine activity from her. But if you are a man, you are just simply as a man. It's possible in the sense where you basically have feminine energies around you. You have your sisters, you have your mothers, you have your friends who are women, who you can at least exchange those energies with, in terms of living together, in terms of exchanging gifts, in terms of practicing certain particular, project together, working together with feminine energies. You'll be able to arrive at consciousness. So, but if you're a masculine man, but you're not around feminine energies, you're not learning femininity. Remember, masculinity is to transform the physical universe into the spiritual universe. Femininity is to guide. Like right now, Brother Adrian, I'm practicing the feminine energy. I'm teaching you guys. I am practicing the feminine energy. So you can also do this in this way as well. You can also take in the feminine role of being a teacher, of being taking care of the children. So you can also do that as well. But if you're married to a woman, it's even more powerful, because even the act of sex exchanges energies. You see people who have been married for a long time, they begin to look as if they are similar. Brother Lebo, I don't know if you have seen this, Brother Lebo. People have been married for a long time. The act of having so much sex together and exchanging those energies, you begin to look alike. You even become to, it looks like you have so many things in common. You've seen these things, right? So it's even in the spiritual level as well. Brother Adrian, I hope I've been able to answer your question. Brother Adrian.
Yes, you did.
Thank you so much. Gamboro Pai.
Yes, so what I would like to know is what is the origin of a hermaphrodite? How did they come about?
The what?
The feminine and the masculine. The origin of the hermaphrodite.
It's hermaphrodite is we are pieces of the Most High. It means we are spirits that have the energy of the Most High, and the energy of the Most High, our Creator, is hermaphrodite. It has both the masculine Tatanzambi and the feminine Mamandombe. So in the Most High, there are these two energies in the Most High. So we, as the pieces of the Most High, we also have these two energies in us. But when we descend into the physical dimension, we separate. Others take the feminine role, others take the masculine role. So to return to the Most High, we have to return complete, having learned masculinity and having learned femininity. That's how it is, Brother Gambori Pai. I hope if there's any other inputs or question, we're coming to the end of our session, because we're having the Swahili class very soon. Brother Lebo, Miss Nene, Miss Elikia, Brother Silverback Congo, any inputs from you guys and before we end our session for today? Yes, Brother Lebo, did I answer your question? Yes, Brother Silverback.
Thank you for your time, brother. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
I will be reaching out to you via email sometime this week.
Please do, and do take some time to watch the session again to be able to understand more. And any input from Brother Bill or Brother Lebo?
Making so far so clear, and we really appreciate.
Thank you so much, everybody. So like I said, here we're just giving you knowledge, but this knowledge has to become a living experience in your life. You have to be able to live in love, live in purity, and live in justice to be able to arrive at consciousness. It's an effort. Make an effort every day to cultivate purity, to cultivate love, to cultivate justice. That is what will draw you closer to the Most High. I know I said about the chakras. I spoke about the chakras, yes, but don't focus a lot on activating the chakras. Just focus on living in love, purity, and justice. This thing, Master Yeshua summarized life. He said that have a relationship with the Most High and love your neighbor as yourself. So Master Yeshua summarized the entire 42 laws of the Mahat that Moses summarized into 10 commandments, but Master Yeshua summarized it into 2. Love God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind and your body, and love your neighbor as yourself. If you practice those things, it's easy. You really activate your chakras automatically, you know. So live in love, live in purity, live in justice. And we love you so much, Zola Bantu. We're going to look at basically our next class will be on the activities of the spirit. We shall look depth into it, exactly how do we divide to get the activities, and how marriage is very important to be able to arrive at consciousness. It's in the union of marriage where we basically come together to become the workers of the Most High in the physical dimension. So marriage is very, very important because it unites. So marriage is not a union of a penis and a vagina, my dear brothers and sisters. Marriage is a union of activities. Marriage is between the spiritual beings, the feminine and the masculine. When you marry somebody, it's not you marry them because you want to have sex with them. No, remember, you're wearing the body of an animal. The animal, yes, has some needs of sex and eating and everything, but when you marry somebody, you marry first of all to attain spiritual maturity. You see some people get married and their family is forcing them, have children, have children. No, you don't marry for children. We don't marry to produce babies. No. I saw a man in the US who had 33 children with multiple baby mamas. That is stupidity. You're bringing us fallen entities just like that in the name of numbers. Marriage is about how can you help the other to attain spiritual maturity. If you decide not to have children, it's good. So marriage is a union of activities, my dear brothers and sisters of Africa. We love you so much. Have a beautiful week ahead and catch you in our next class on the activities of the spirit. Bye for now. Bye-bye.
Pilot sends a message back to the Department of Genie Creators.
They are here like always, the crazy ones.
Leader Entity replies,
Ignore them.
Pilot carrying fallen spirits speaks to his team back in the lower astral world.
Well, I see deliver here. The traders have a drop.
Pilot gets an order from his superiors in the lower astral world.
Stay close to them. We might get an opportunity.
Noted, sir.
Spiritual engine carrying Elizabeth's spirit crosses the satellite balloons in the Earth's atmosphere. Pilot carrying Elizabeth's spirit speaks to his team.
The moon is available for natural GPS, but they use balloons to attach their spy cameras that they call satellites within the Earth's atmosphere. And yet they tell their people on Earth that the satellites are out of space.
One member of the pilot's team replies,
Well, that's why NASA is a 40 billion industry, paid to maintain the Matrix, a fabricated reality. I actually enjoyed that movie. I would have enjoyed more if Will Smith played the role of Neo.
Gentlemen's, focus.
Pilot replies,
Sorry, sir. Tracking location of Mrs. Miriam.
She's by her garden behind the house with Helen.
On it.
There is a race of spiritual engines towards Mrs. Miriam's backyard.
Oh, bonimino. Hey, hey.
Tangoza na bomo tangu makasi eza na nzoto yebisa fami tolingaka bango liboso bawa yebisa boyoyo bokumisaka ye ekisa lolango na yo kozela te bakufa o esimo ya kotanda mosolo kozela te bakoma na bokono olakisa lolango na yo oh, oh, oh. Yo, 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 yo. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yo, 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 yo. tangoza na bomoi lakisa bango motindokani yolingaka bango yolelaka motema baoyo betelaka tolo yebisa bango boye jimukunanga bikolabe oh nakupenda mumezolange fami nalingi bino mukulanga kozela te bakoma na bokono polakisa lolango na yo kozela te baawa nsima otanda wolo na lilita yango wana lelo yebisa bango boye jimukunanga bikolabe minanga tesiotonekiayo mumezolange fami nalingi bino jimukunanga bikolabe nakupenda mumezolange fami nalingi bino tesiotonekimio
Mendibe
tangwango yo yakolakisa lolango kozela te bakende na paradiso kozela te babunga na lifelo tango za na bomoi lakisa yebisa lolango na yo yebisa bango jimukunanga bikolabe nakupenda ayeye mizolange fami nalingi bino jimukunanga bikolabe nakupenda oma mizolange fami nalingi bino jimukunanga bikolabe memo nakupenda wi mizolange fami nalingi bino jimukunanga bikolabe